Every year, the federal agency that enforces discrimination laws, that's known as the EEOC, or the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, releases its statistics on the number of discrimination charges filed with the agency during that fiscal year, broken down according to the type of discrimination alleged. I'm Alex Rubin, owner of Rubin Employment Law. Here are the top 3 forms of workplace discrimination based on the EEOC statistics. Please keep in mind that this is not legal advice. It's general information, and the law may change at any time. Number 1, retaliation. 34,332 retaliation charges were filed with the EEOC during fiscal year 2021. This represents 56% of all charges filed that year. The tricky thing about retaliation is that the underlying claim does not necessarily have to be a valid one for the retaliation claim to stick. For example, even if an employee's internal harassment complaint is investigated and found to be unsubstantiated, if that person's employment is adversely affected in any way after the complaint is filed, well, you, the employer, may be liable for retaliation. Rule of thumb, do not fire an employee or change their working conditions after they complain about harassment or discrimination, unless, and there's always an exception, you have good, well-documented reasons for doing so that predate the employee's complaint. Number 2 on the EEOC's list is disability. 22,843 disability charges were filed during fiscal year 2021. This represents 37.2% of all charges filed. Now, you, the employer, would have to know about the employee's disability to be liable for discrimination on that basis. Some are easy to detect, others not so much. Whether or not their disability is visible, be careful what you ask an employee who is not performing well. Do not ask them if their disability is causing their performance issues. The best question you can ask is, how can I help you? I'm going to repeat that. How can I help you? This should keep you out of hot water. Now, if the employee reveals a disability and requests an accommodation to be able to perform their job, while you don't necessarily have to honor their specific request, you do have to engage in an interactive dialogue with them to determine, is this accommodation reasonable, and will it cause an undue hardship on the company? The third top EEOC charge is race discrimination. 20,908 such charges were filed during fiscal year 2021. This represents 34.1% of all charges filed. Unfortunately, race discrimination in the workplace and elsewhere is all too prevalent in our polarized society. Training in diversity, equity, and inclusion will go a long way toward eliminating race discrimination from your workplace and thus your liability. Not only is it the right thing to do, but studies have shown that the more diverse your workforce, the more profitable your business will be. And of course, the less lawsuits you'll have to defend. So there you have it, the top 3 forms of discrimination in the workplace: retaliation, disability, and race. While you should pay special attention to these 3, do not overlook other forms of discrimination and harassment. Be sure your policies are up to date and that you use a robust complaint and investigation process when such complaints arise. If you need help writing, updating, or implementing these policies, give us a call.